Hello and welcome. Thanks to all of you. Plenty of opportunity for applause. Don't wear yourself out on me. Thanks for coming, and we're going to try and inaugurate a new tradition here today. So the idea is that the students are going to march in, and while they're marching in, you will all be standing and applauding, and will remain standing until they've all sort of found their seats, but not yet taken their seats. And at that point, I will signal all of you to sit down, and the program will begin. So shortly, on Felicia's notice, I will give you a signal to stand. Welcome. So everyone sit down and we can get started. I saw lots of cell phones out to capture the moment, which is great, but that also provides me with a nice transition to remind everyone to please silence your cell phone out of respect for our speakers and presenters, and also take a moment to familiarize yourself with your nearest exit. You can see the green signs for that. So welcome to Caltech, welcome to Convocation. I'm Kevin Gilmartin. I'm a professor of English in the Humanities and Social Sciences Division, and I am currently Vice President for Student Affairs. It's absolutely my privilege to be able to host today's gathering with our theme, The Joy of Discovery, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to Caltech. I know that I speak for my colleagues, faculty and staff alike, and for our continuing students in stressing the importance this welcoming event and your arrival has for our community. We're thrilled that you chose to join us. Caltech is a singular research and learning community in many ways, not least because of our commitment to collaboration, which fosters community, and because our students, graduate and undergraduate alike, contribute meaningfully, indeed indispensably, to our core mission, expanding human knowledge and benefiting society through research integrated with education. It often strikes me at this time of year that our colleges and universities are distinctive institutions in the way they are reinvigorated every year in the fall by the arrival of so many new members. And this is particularly true at Caltech. You will no doubt find yourself challenged and changed in meaningful ways during your time here. But it's no less true that we, all of us who live and work at Caltech, will be transformed by you. We need your ideas, your creativity and energy, your engagement and leadership, as we work together to ensure that Caltech remains the extraordinary research and learning community that drew you. As a classroom professor for more than 3 decades, I can attest to the many ways that Caltech has changed dramatically in the time I've been here, becoming more diverse and inclusive, more socially and publicly engaged, and in this era of profound challenges around climate change and sustainability, more committed to that core mission of ensuring that our STEM enterprise benefits society in the deepest and broadest terms. Students have been involved in this process of making Caltech a better community. Our admissions processes are as thoughtful as they are rigorous, and I'm confident that all of you come to Caltech with the creativity, intelligence, and drive to ensure that we can all grow together through the discoveries that lie ahead. All of you were drawn here by the excellence of our STEM research and learning programs. But as you join our community and chart your own distinctive course through a Caltech education, I urge you to seek out other dimensions of the campus and discover the many opportunities available for collaboration, engagement, and growth. I come from one of our hidden gems, a gifted and committed humanities research and teaching faculty. There are many others, and during orientation and throughout the year ahead, you'll be introduced to them. The music, theater, and athletic programs that enrich all of our lives, the social activities that encourage us to remain connected, the rich leadership and service opportunities available to all students, and the many support programs and staff who are committed to ensuring that you and your peers have every opportunity to succeed. So a Caltech education is a great thing, but it's also a rich and broad thing. So at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce, rather indirectly, Tom Rosenbaum, president of Caltech and professor of physics. He's not able to join us today, but we have his recorded greeting and remarks.
Welcome to one of the great universities of the world. Throughout its history, Caltech has pushed the boundaries of discovery, from the invention of molecular biology to the discovery of gravitational waves. And Caltech is famous for developing new instruments to interrogate nature, the largest telescopes in the world, a network of seismometers that give early earthquake warnings, planetary probes hurtling into outer space, and the development of a universal COVID vaccine. I'm sorry not to be able to welcome you in person, but on the day of convocation, I have to be in Washington, D.C. However, I look forward to greeting you at the receptions for the undergraduates and graduate students at our home, the President's Residence on Hill Avenue, and of course, following your progress throughout the years. So I'm filming this in the middle of the Caltech campus. You'll get to know this campus really well. It's like a botanical garden. But if you go inside the buildings, there are amazing discoveries of laboratories and people. There's an old proverb that if a book falls from a high shelf and hits you on the head and makes an empty sound, it may not be the fault of the book. You will crack open many books, but that is only the first stage in what you can get out of your Caltech experience. You will learn from your fellow students. You will learn perhaps more than from the faculty. You will be introduced to diverse backgrounds and perspectives and ways of thinking about problems. You will delve deeply into a problem and create knowledge through research. You will have the opportunity to study abroad. You can engage in music and arts and theater here on campus, but also in Pasadena and even downtown LA. I look forward to hearing about all your progress. Together, we need to solve many of the great problems facing our society, and you will be prepared to do that. Congratulations on taking these first steps in your journey. It will be a glorious and fulfilling one for all of you.
Next, I want to invite our undergraduate student, Alex Burr, class of 2024, and currently chair of the Undergraduate Academics and Research Committee, to speak to you.
It is great to see so many new faces here as we embark on the new academic year. As we start to get cool fall breezes through the olive trees, I feel a sense of wonder and anticipation in the air. What will my new classes bring? What ideas will we explore? What questions and challenges will we find? And what experiments can we try to solve them? And with luck, discover something new. As I enter my fourth year here, I find myself amazed and inspired by my peers and how far they've come. The Frosch in my Phys 1A recitation, who thought he might be interested in chemistry, has now published a paper on methods to increase enantiomeric excess in metal catalyzed reactions. A Frosch who rotated with me into Venerable 3 years ago is now captain of the soccer team, leading the younger students by example, showing them what it means to be a great student, athlete, and friend. The Frosch who helped me find all my classes on the first day is now applying to PhD programs in biochemistry and is trying to solve 6 new protein structures this year in her senior thesis. And there are so many more. Each and every one of the Frosch who sat next to me in orientation has taken many steps towards what they'd originally only dreamed about doing. They have all accomplished so much in a few short years, and I am so excited to see what you two will do in your time here. Unfortunately, not every day is going to end with groundbreaking results. There are some days at lab where your experiments just don't work. You get results that don't make sense, you mess up the reaction, or your experiment just fails for seemingly no reason. And yet when you finally get that perfect Western blot, when your code finally compiles, when the data is just beautiful, I still haven't lost that excitement, that jump up and down feeling of it worked, it finally worked. I'm excited most of all for each of you to have that moment, whether it's at the bench in a new lab, doing a proof in Math 1A, or up at a telescope on Mount Wilson, where you discover something new. Speaking to just the incoming first years for a moment, We are thrilled to introduce our houses to you through rotation dinners and events, to show you the ins and outs of academics, the uniting system, and what a pizza course is during orientation, to help you through your first Chem 1A and Math 1A sets, through the infamous boat problem, and all the rest of core. We hope that as all of you take on these challenging courses and new lab rotations in the coming days, that you tackle each opportunity with curiosity and determination. That even if it doesn't go perfectly the first time around, you can take a step back and focus on the joy of discovering something new, whether that be in the lab, in the classroom, or deeper within yourself with peers who are just as thrilled to learn new science, build some awesome crazy contraption, and figure out how to do the problems on their first set as you are. Welcome, incoming students. We are so glad you're here.
Thanks, Alex. Next, we will hear from Mateo Wareski and Matt Ratana-Pinichkich, who are co-chairs of the Graduate Student Council.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. I'm honored to be here and to be given the opportunity to say a few words because, frankly, it wasn't that long ago when I was standing in your shoes as a newly minted graduate student. And if we go just a bit further back, as a newly minted undergraduate student. But I wasn't the only one, as you all aren't today, surrounded by a sea of peers with neurons to spare and ATP to burn. Your journey is only beginning. Welcome again to Caltech. But as the year begins anew, I'd like to shed light on a particular aspect of this institution. Caltech attracts incredibly creative and talented researchers from all 6 divisions and from all over the globe. But even more importantly, in a world that is moving ever towards the blending of fields to birth novel and innovative directions, it is the proximity and diversity of the community that allows for creativity like nowhere else. In my own work developing technology to probe the microscopic world of bacteria, the blend of microbiology, biochemistry, molecular biology, data science, and chemical engineering, I've gained insight from, offered advice to, been trained by, and simply had friends and colleagues from BBE to CCE to EAS. Incredible folks not only driven in their own fields, but curious and open-minded to science at large. It also helps that nearly all Caltech buildings are but a minute away from anywhere else on campus, so popping over and having a quick chat over coffee at Red Door is always on the table. So no matter where you're from, what you study, and where you're going, don't forget when leaning into your work to lean on the incredible, diverse, and curious community here at Caltech. But with that, I yield the floor to Mateo.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're as excited to be here as I am. Let's take a moment to celebrate the change we're about to embark on with the 2023 school year. With the beginning of your challenging but exciting Caltech education, and for many of you, international students like myself, the excitement to explore a new country and culture, a lot is about to change very quickly. That being said, when I think back on it, it wasn't these instant and obvious changes that have made the most impact on my time here, but rather the changes I didn't expect. Things that might seem inconsequential, but just take time to develop. While I'm now the co-chair of the GSC, our graduate student body, I didn't get involved with it until my 3rd year. It was then, thinking back on conversations with my peers, that I realized how my passion for advocacy had grown, together with a new understanding of how our time here, our well-being, and our research are all shaped by the environment around us. When science gets frustrating, because it always does, an inner tube water polo event or a Friday happy hour can turn your week around. While my initial participation in GSC was aimed at planning such events and building up our community, I'm now involved in student advocacy efforts and working on student-faculty relations. When I got to Caltech, I didn't know what my next steps were. Now, however, after a few years of development, I'm looking at careers where this new passion can intersect with my research, such as science policy, communication, funding agencies, and more. My advice to you is keep your minds open while you're at Caltech. We're an institute of technology, and that is very clear. There will be times when you will bury yourself in your work. But even then, and perhaps most importantly then, I encourage you to leave your comfort zone and try something new. Science is amazing, but there is still so much outside of science that is worth exploring. And then maybe after a few years have gone by, you will look back and realize you're not the same person that was sitting in this room today. You will have new interests, new passions, and maybe even a new job, all thanks to the most unlikely moments. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Laurie Leshin, a distinguished geochemist and space scientist, and currently director of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which you all know as JPL, and Bren Professor of Geochemistry and Planetary Science at Caltech. Dr. Leshin's journey of discovery included an early stage at Caltech, where she received her PhD in geochemistry in 1994 after undergraduate work at Arizona State University. Before returning to Caltech to lead JPL, she was a professor of Earth and Environmental Science and Dean of the School of Science at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and later president of Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Along the way, Dr. Leshin advised President George W. Bush on space policy and was appointed by President Barack Obama to the Smithsonian Institution's National Air and Space Museum Advisory Board. Her many honors and awards include NASA's Outstanding Leadership Medal and Distinguished Public Service Medal, and the Meteoritical Society's Near Prize for Outstanding Research. For me, she's been a thoughtful and extraordinarily generous administrative colleague. So it really is my pleasure to invite you to join me in welcoming her here today.
All right, can you hear me? Good morning and welcome. It's great to see you all, this wonderful auditorium full of excited hearts and minds ready to embark on your Caltech journey. Are you excited? Yeah? Okay, everything go okay with moving, getting settled, roommates, all that stuff? I'm not gonna talk about any of that, because we're gonna talk about cool space stuff this morning, if that's okay with you. Yeah, space nerds, raise your hand, space nerds. Yes, my people. Okay, awesome. As I do that, I'm gonna talk about it in a bit of a personal way, and in a bit of a personal story about something that I care a lot about. The joy of discovery, I think, is a great theme. I often talk about this as the passionate pursuit of discovery. I think that people who aren't involved in STEM sort of think of scientists and engineers as people who methodically learn things and get things done without a lot of passion and emotion, right? What we know and what you will discover even more than you already have on your path here, now that you're here to engage in this incredibly passionate community, is that gaining new knowledge is about passion. It's a passionate pursuit, not a passionless pursuit. And I will give you a couple of examples of that. But first, they asked me to give a little bit of the personal background. You heard some of it from Kevin. Thank you very much for that. I did finish my PhD here in 94. Sometimes I say 95. I defended it in October 94, and I walked across the stage in June of 95. I don't know which is the right year. Someone should advise me about that. But after quite a great experience here as a graduate student, but my nerdiness extends, like I'm sure many of you, far back from that. That's me in middle school. My brothers used to torture me with that picture. I had curled my hair so nice. And then just one side went totally flat and the other. And how about that shirt? Like, nice, right? Anyway, my brothers tortured me with that picture for years, so I just decided to kind of own it as, yes, me, my nerdy middle school self in all my glory. And then I just started at JPL just over a year ago, and am really honored to be the 10th director of the lab and the first woman to run JPL. Thank you. Thank you. And JPL, of course, is a unique place in that it's the only NASA installation operated by somebody other than NASA. That JPL is operated by Caltech. I'm a Caltech employee. All 6,500 of my colleagues at JPL are Caltech employees. We are part of this campus community, and so I'm so thrilled to be here to welcome you today to get to talk a bit about some of the kinds of work we do, but also to make sure that you know that you are now part of the JPL community too, and in addition to the Caltech community. So for me, this journey has a lot of lessons, one of which I will focus on today, but which is again about that sort of being inspired by the big questions and being passionate about pursuing new knowledge. The other two I often talk about, which I won't talk much about today because we don't have that much time, but is about mentors and advocates. And for you all just starting on your journey here, you have arrived at a place full of potential mentors and advocates who love the idea that they can help change the trajectory of your life. You've already done incredible things or you wouldn't be sitting here. The people who work here at Caltech on the lab, one of the things that gives us the most joy is to see you succeed. For me, when I was 19 and an undergraduate at Arizona State, I had seen a flyer for a NASA summer internship. I had no idea what most of the words meant. And I cold called a faculty member to say, can you please help me? And I can still in my mind see her. She was at that time, back in the dark ages, she was one of the only women full professors in STEM at the university, but I can still see her dropping what she was doing and saying, come in and let's talk about this, let me help you. And I did get that NASA summer internship, and it did change my life. That is a great example of what faculty can do to help support you and mentor you, and not just shine a light in a direction for you, but help kick down doors and help make things happen. So please do take advantage of the extraordinary Caltech faculty and staff, as well as folks at JPL, to help light the way for you. And then the other one I often talk about is about kind of cultivating judgment about which opportunities to take. You are going to be faced with a huge number of possible things you can get involved in here. And of course, as new college students, even new graduate students, I encourage you to get engaged in this community. It's incredible. But start to get smart about those things that are both going to bring you joy and fulfill a passion, and also will help help you learn something new, help push and stretch you. And be careful, keep it in balance, don't overdo it. The academics are intense, so make sure you watch out for yourself. But some of the most interesting things in my own career have come from when I've sort of picked up the phone and it's been a bit of out of left field and I've gotten involved in something that has taken me in a whole new direction. Just be open to that kind of experience. But the one I want to talk about the most is this thing about being inspired by big questions. For me, that started as a 10-year-old girl. I'm a little too young to remember Apollo, and I hope you all know what that is. You do, right? Okay, you're way too young to remember. I was a 10-year-old girl growing up in Phoenix, Arizona, when Viking landed on Mars in the mid-70s. And I, to this day, have a distinct memory of opening Time magazine and seeing that weird-looking picture, which is actually this picture right here, from the Viking landers, and just feeling like, oh my gosh, like I was hit by a lightning bolt. I want to reach out and touch those rocks. I was fascinated. I was riveted. I wasn't like then, it was like, oh, that's it. I'm going to be a space person no matter what. I had a lot of interest, but that always stuck with me. And I'm thrilled to say that I have built a career around helping enable myself and others to study cool Mars rocks. And we're still working on that today at JPL. But that journey is not without bumps in the road. And in fact, it is those bumps in the road. It's the tough times followed by the success. I loved what Alex said about that excitement of discovery. I have definitely had moments. I've had moments on this campus where I've run around with a really silly plot in my hand of data, like just being a perfect correlation, for days. And every single person I saw, did you see this? Do you see this line? It's so exciting. Those moments are great. Those moments also pair with moments of kind of deep drama and fear that it's just all going to be a challenge and maybe not going to work, and including some failures along the way. And I've been involved in a couple of different things, and I want to share with you a couple of different experiences that around that. And the first actually has to do with the Hubble Space Telescope. Hubble fans, any Hubble huggers out there? It's we all love the James Webb Telescope, the new one, but Hubble is like the OG awesome space telescope. It was, the cool thing about Hubble is that it could be serviced by astronauts in the space shuttle back in the day. And I, in addition to working in academia in my career, I have also worked at NASA before. And I worked at another part of NASA in Maryland called NASA Goddard, who was actually in charge of the very last time that astronauts went to service the Hubble telescope, which was in 2009. This is our fabulous crew. This is the fun thing. This was one of the last few shuttle missions. This is in the last 10 or 11 shuttle missions. They were making movie poster type things about the crew. Isn't that cool? NASA's good at that stuff, right? So that's our fabulous crew. It's pretty good, right? Like, look, like George Clooney and yeah. Anyway, so the stars of our show today, of this story that I'm about to tell you, is this guy, Drew Feustel, who was out on EVA, out spacewalking to help fix the Hubble. He was out there with this guy, John Grunsfeld, who, by the way, was a postdoc at Caltech. And they're talking to this guy, Mike Massimino, who some of you might know from his turn on Big Bang Theory. But you'll hear his voice in some of the videos I'm about to show you right now. So what were we trying to do when we were fixing Hubble? I was in mission control while this was happening. It's a decade-long process to plan these missions. And we were doing a bunch of stuff on that mission, replacing some batteries and some gyros and things. But the cool thing we were doing is upgrading Hubble's instruments. The telescope is fine, but over time, the cameras become out of date, just like why you buy a new cell phone, right? So we were installing a spectrograph, which was awesome, and my husband actually worked on that, and this camera is the size of a baby grand piano. You can see it there, right? And the way this works is that it weighs like 700 pounds on Earth, right? But in space, it's weightless, and so it's just held in the telescope by one bolt. So the first thing the astronauts do when they go out on the first of 5 spacewalks, the first day, is to unscrew that bolt, pull out the old camera, and put in the new camera. And that's where the trouble began. They couldn't get the bolt unscrewed. Yeah, and so they have all these very fancy astronaut tools. They're kind of look like a drill that you would use at home, but it's got torque sensors on it, and they don't want to strip the bolt, right? If you strip the bolt, the old camera stays in Hubble, and the new camera comes home with the space shuttle. And so for hours, they were trying to get this bolt unstuck, trying to get it unstuck. And I will tell you, people in mission control were crying. So passionate pursuit of knowledge. These are people who had for 10 years worked to build this new camera and get it safely up to Hubble, and they might have had to bring it home. That is when you start to see the passionate commitment that people have, nights, weekends, time away from their families to make this happen. So I'm going to show you the kind of what happened here and what the reaction was. Let's see if we can make a video work.
Okay, Mass, I just want to understand how far can we go with this, and what are the implications if I over-torque and break the bolt?
So that's Drew, after having tried for hours.
What do you want to know? Houston Atlantis, you might have copied Drew's question. We know the failure torque on this bolt is 57.1 foot-pounds. We had the MTL set at 45.
MTL is the drill tool.
Says is, if we don't get it to break here, we're going to reconnect the ground strap and blind mate connector. So I guess Drew's just wondering how hard he should try on this A-latch. If you have any words for us, we'd appreciate it. So in other words, he can use what he needs from his strength to try to break the torque. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, so they got rid of the fancy
That's exactly
drill
right.
and just said, like,
as soon as he does,
yank it.
if he's successful, start to have some motion in the latch, we'd like him to go ahead and stop at that point.
That's the one where the one bolt is.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Okay, but I think we understand that if it breaks, then wide field stays in.
What John said is correct.
Thanks.
No pressure.
Okay, here we go. I think I got it. It turned. It definitely turned. Yep, it turned. And it's turning easily now. Very nice.
Okay, and Atlantis Houston for EPA, we copied and saw that. That's great news. At this point, we'd like to put the MTL back in series with the short adjustable.
This was after hours and hours, right?
16 years, Drew. It didn't want to come out. Kind of like a head bolt, you know? It likes what it's been doing, and it weighs 620 pounds to be exact. And it's been doing it well. 620, thank you, man.
So, yeah. But literally, there were tears being shed in mission control because the people who had worked so hard on this, and there's the one bolt, right? That is the passionate pursuit of knowledge. And I'll just show you a quick cutaway. Now that he's gone back to the drill, you'll see, and then what things look like in mission control, you'll see the chief scientist of the Hubble servicing mission and the project manager. So there he is with the drill. It's turning.
It was tougher to do than we thought, but you know, it has ended with just beautifully. Well, I've just lost 5 years of my life.
That's his voice, Dave Leckrone. I just lost 5 years of my life. Passion. There's nobody in white lab coats with a stern face saying, oh, well, I guess it didn't work, you know. This is passion, right? So that's a little bit of a dated example, but I was there for that. And so to me, the concept of teams coming together to go after bigger things than any of us can do alone, that is a beautiful thing that NASA does and Caltech does. And just knowing that there are bumps along the road, but the teams come together in those moments to get us all through those bumps. I want to show you a slightly more recent example. Oh, first I'll show you, these are the first images that were released from WFPIC 3, from the camera that we did successfully install on Hubble, and it's still working amazingly well and doing great. I want to show you a little bit more recent example with this girl. Anybody know her name? Perseverance. This is the Perseverance rover. I call her a girl. Okay, she's probably isn't gendered, but there she is on the surface of Mars with her friend, the Ingenuity helicopter. Anybody following the Ingenuity helicopter's work on Mars? Thank you. Very proud of this work, which was all done at JPL before I got there, by the way, so I take no actual credit in this. But this was the first time we'd ever attempted to fly a rotorcraft on another world, and I just want to show you that very first day, which was in the middle of COVID. This was April 2021. We landed Percy in February of 2021, and she dropped the helicopter right next to her there. This was right before the first flight. And I want to just show you, again, the team of people that come together with passion around trying to do something that's never been done before.
Earlier today, Ingenuity should have autonomously performed its first flight attempt on Mars. Now the team is ready to receive the data that will tell them whether we've made history.
Good.
This is downlink. We are beginning to see data products.
Rotor motors appear healthy. All actuators appear healthy.
Ingenuity is reporting having performed spin-up, takeoff, climb, hover, descent, landing, touchdown, and spin down. Altimeter data confirms that Ingenuity has performed its first flight of a powered aircraft to another planet.
We can now say that human beings have flown a rotorcraft on another planet. Let's get back to work and more flights. Congratulations.
Now on to more flights, she said. So this is an absolutely incredible thing that happened, especially in the middle of the pandemic. But you can see I hope you could see the nervousness, even with the masks, right? You could see the nervousness on the team, and then to get that incredible data down. Just extraordinary. And by the way, that's only one of the very many missions we work on at JPL. You can see here our family portrait of missions either in flight or in development. We study Mars, obviously, a lot. You know us for Mars rovers. We work on telescopes. We do a ton of work on our home planet of Earth, trying to understand how it's changing and evolving and what we might do about that. And so I just want to close by talking about how, in many ways, each of you is like the Ingenuity helicopter. You are ready for takeoff, and you've got an amazing team of people backing you and waiting to support you in your success. And I hope you can approach your first year here and all the years after with the same kind of joy and passion that we try and do each and every day at NASA, and that your colleagues here at Caltech really try and do. We are here to support you. We are excited for your success. And I want to make sure you know that just 5 miles up the road is JPL, and I'm sure we'll figure out ways to interact with lots of you. We have internships. We work with the SURF program. If you're interested in getting involved at JPL, starting to talk with the student programs here is a good way to do that, or go online and look for internships at JPL. And Ingenuity, that you saw its first flight this week, it just took its 54th flight. So, or maybe 58th flight, sorry, 58th flight on Mars. And you will be flying again and again and again too. I'm excited for you, and welcome to Caltech, and enjoy your first term. Thank you all. And now, unfortunately, I have to go.
Wow. It was interesting. None of this was coordinated in advance, but I was struck by what Laurie said and by what our students said. And I'll quote Laurie here. Bumps in the road, those will lie ahead of you. Expect them. They're part of life. They're part of research. They're part of learning. But teams come together, and that's the note that I really want to close on. It was striking to me how our student presenters emphasized the value of peer support, peer engagement. Your peers are here. Take the time to get to know one another in the weeks and months to come. So at this point, I want to close and invite all of you to join me and other presenters at a reception immediately outside this auditorium. But before we do that, I do want to invite you to thank our speakers again, but also to thank all of the staff who put this together. And particularly, sorry from the light here, I cannot see her, but particularly Felicia Hunt, who took the lead and was really an extraordinary organizer.
Welcome to Caltech. We are the Office of Student Experience.
On behalf of Dining Services, we want to
welcome you. Welcome to Caltech.
Hello, new students. I am Hampton Cantrell. I'm the Chief of Security at Caltech. Welcome to Caltech.
Welcome to Caltech.
Hi, I'm Georgine. I work in the Graduate Studies office, and I'm welcoming you all to Caltech. You are now part of the Caltech family. Please come and visit us. We have treats for you, drinks, candy, bribery works. Good luck.
My name is Claudia Andrade. Welcome to Caltech.
Hi, I'm Helen, and I'm the Operations and Admissions Administrator in the grad office. Welcome to Caltech.
Hi, my name is Daryl Peterson. I'm Associate Dean of Graduate Studies. Welcome to Caltech.
Hi, I'm David Chan, and I'm the Dean of Graduate Studies. Welcome to Caltech. I think you'll find that Caltech is the ideal place to start your career in research. The Graduate Office is here to help you succeed in that journey. I look forward to seeing you at orientation, and I invite you to visit our office.
day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls.
Hi, welcome to Caltech. My name is Rupa, and I'm a student in computer science from Venerable House and president of the Caltech Y Student Executive Committee. The Caltech Y is a campus nonprofit run by students and staff to connect undergraduates and graduates with opportunities in the community, both on campus and beyond. This includes everything from visits to attractions in the greater LA area and camping trips to national parks, to volunteer programs and civic and political talks, all organized by Caltech students for Caltech students. Check out the Y website or talk to any member of XCOM to learn more about our organization and its programs. If you're interested in going beyond participation and helping lead programs, feel free to reach out. Everyone's welcome to contribute. Your time at Caltech is guaranteed to be an adventure, and we're here to enrich your student experience and support your growth as an engaged citizen in the process. Your world awaits.
Greetings, new Beavers, and welcome to Caltech. I'm Betsy Mitchell, Director of Athletics, Physical Education, and Recreation, and I'm inviting you to make sure you come across California and check out our athletic and recreational facilities. And once again, welcome to Caltech, and as always, go Beavers!
Sorry, it's news to no one that Felicia is more organized than I am. I forgot about the video. We are now done. And please join us outside.